sometimes there are historical events and history-making events and statues and things of that nature which kind of bring attention to our wonderful city. Oftentimes it's kind of overlooked how much history we have, not only as it relates to art and culture, but also musically and educationally and civically. But I guarantee you, there's one thing about this wonderful city, and there's one person who is from this wonderful city that everybody knows about. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
And I'm your host, Alex Havershan. And of course, I know you already know who I'm talking about, because I know you've already heard about the 75th anniversary activities that's coming up. But those few who don't know, I'm talking about the late, great Otis Redding. And it's more than a little pleasure for me to be able to talk to his daughter, Miss Karla Redding Andrews, and I'm so excited until I almost can't talk about it, because now I'm not going to tell you whether I'm Otis's age or younger than Otis. I'm going to tell you that I'm not older than he is. But it's 75th. Now this is his birthday.
This is his birthday celebration. My dad would have turned 75 on September the 9th.
Wow.
Yeah, 75.
So what's happening is that the family and the foundation are planning just a slew of entertaining and phenomenal events in observance of his 75th anniversary. So I'm going to turn. Last time I tried to sing, I embarrassed Karla and my family and her family by trying to do a rendition of the Dock of the Babe. So I'm not singing today.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
Yeah, but guess what? I was singing, this is on TV, we got the cameras on. And she said, you got the words wrong. So let's talk about all this, and let's give us a little background on it and how you started to observe.
Well, with the foundation, which we started in 2007, we formally started the Otis Redding Foundation in 2007, which we wanted to do it in his honor because he was always promoting the importance of education paired with music and the arts. And what better way to do that and in his memory was to establish the Otis Redding Foundation. So the 75th celebration, which takes place September 9 through 11, is the biggest fundraiser that we do in support of the foundation and its efforts to promote progress through education, enlightenment through music.
You've got all kinds of activities.
Yes.
And the thing I like about it is there are different levels with which everybody can be involved.
Absolutely.
So talk about some of the activities.
We want the whole city to be involved. The last time we did it was 2011, and it was an amazing event which brought people from all walks of life together here in our community, as well as people from the international waters came over to celebrate with us. So this year, with the 75th, we start out on Friday, declaring Friday as the official day of Otis Redding, since that is his birthday. The Central Marching Band will be coming down Cherry Street in celebration, and we'll go straight down to the plaza right in front of the Tubman Museum.
The Otis Redding Plaza.
Yes, not the Otis Redding Plaza, the Gateway Plaza down at the Tubman.
With the statues.
Yes. And we will march down there, and we will have music all day, entertainment, food, for the whole community to be a part of that.
This is a free event at the
plaza.
This
is a free event. Yes, down at Gateway Plaza, down in front of the Tubman. And on Saturday, September 10th, we will have a picnic under the stars. On Saturday, September 10th, we'll have a picnic under the stars up at Coleman Hill, where they will be showing actual performances of Otis Redding, and that's sponsored by Bragg Jam and the Film Festival in Macon.
Wow.
And then on Sunday, which is the huge event, which is an evening of respect, which is the tribute concert where we'll have Dexter and Otis Redding, of course, and of course they're going to do a reunion with Mark Lockett, which they hadn't been together in almost 25 years, as well as Eddie Floyd and William Bell, Chuck Lavelle, Robert McDuffie, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, and a host of other surprise guests who are going to be in the house with us that night. So that's at the Macon City Auditorium, and that starts at 7 o'clock on Sunday.
That's kind of outstanding. Well, you didn't just create this foundation to memorialize Otis and raise funds. This foundation is actually involved in programs and activities that are making a difference. Just talk some about what the foundation has been doing. And
so we have been so lucky to be able to touch so many kids in this community, and especially with our camp, our Otis Music Camp, which this year was the 9th year that we did the camp. We started, like I said, in 2007. That was the first year for the Otis Music Camp. Started out with 7 kids. 7 kids that we just figured we wouldn't even grow past 20. This year, we had 60 kids on the campus of Mercer University, a whole 2-week program. So, and most of those kids, with support of the Knight Foundation, were able to come in with scholarship opportunities. So they didn't even have to, worry about how to pay for a camp of this magnitude. And not to mention that we get some of the most professional individuals, not only from this community, but from around the world, to come and be as coaches, service coaches for our camp. So other things that we do, we have a dream choir that we established with the Otis Redding Center for Creative Arts, which we're right here in today. The kids come in and do music lessons, voice lessons, from strings to piano to guitar, and they get to perform during the holiday season, and they will also perform on an evening of respect. They will be performing.
Wow.
Yeah. So we provide scholarships and great opportunities like that. And, our kids who participate in our programs are our biggest cheerleaders because they always come back. Those that come in as campers graduate and get older and come back as coaches for the camp and still be involved with everything that we do. So.
And I know that it's impacted because I believe I saw on Facebook or somewhere where you all went to D.C.
We did. We had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. And under the invite of Mrs. Michelle Obama invited us to be a part of the program there. And it was an evening at the White House with Sam Moore and Usher and Andra Day and all of these celebrity artists, Jussie Smollett, that my kids, the camp kids, actually got to spend time with them and talk to them about how they got started, what are their dreams, continue your aspirations, never give up. So it was amazing. It was amazing.
So these young people really want to be involved one way or another. Musically, is it their ambition and their goal to...
Well, you know what? It's not only musically that they want to be involved. Some of them want to be entertainment attorneys. Some of them want to just be film producers. Some of them just want to be music engineers. So it covers a whole gamut of the industry.
Right.
Because you don't just have to sing and you don't just have to play an instrument. There are a lot of ways to be successful in the music industry outside of having to sing.
And I think that's important because there are a lot of young people who think they got to have a mic.
Yes.
And
right.
got to sing. But you can still be involved.
You can still. You know, it's so interesting. We see with our camp, some of the kids come in, they don't sing, they don't play an instrument, but they're great poets. They're great songwriters. So they write these incredible songs and they get their other companions to perform the songs for them. So it's amazing. It is amazing to see how they do that.
Let's talk a little bit about Dexter, Otis, and Ma.
Yeah.
A lot of people might not remember. It's been 25 years.
It's been 25 years since they've been together as the Reddings.
And they had, the Reddings, yeah. And they had, what was it, Hand Jam?
Hand Dance, Call the Law. Yeah.
And so they had some hit records.
They did. In the early 80s, they had 10 top 10 songs on the Billboard chart. So to get them back together for this tribute, and this will probably be the last time that we do Evening of Respect in this capacity, because the next time we do it, we're going to make sure that our kids are showcased, that the kids get to showcase their talent. So to have Mark and Dexter and Otis reunion this time for us is amazing. It's going to be incredible. So you will, as much as they're going to pay tribute to Otis Redding, but they're also going to perform some of their own original songs.
Yeah, well, they had some hits.
They did.
I remember hearing it on the radio and all of that. Well, we want to talk some more about this phenomenal weekend.
Yes.
And Evening of Respect and the
celebrating 75
years of Otis Redding. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Mrs. Karla Redding Andrews. We'll be right back.
Otis Redding, the King of Soul. An evening of respect and benefit concerts celebrating 75 years of Otis Redding, featuring performances by Dexter Redding, Otis Redding III, and a Redding's reunion with Mark Lockett with special guest Eddie Floyd, Chuck Lavelle, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Steve Cropper, and more. Sunday, September 11th, 7 p.m. at Macon City Auditorium. Tickets and VIP packages now available at Ticketmaster.com. All proceeds benefit the Otis Redding Foundation.
We're back. I'm your host, Alex Habersham, of A Call to Action, helping to bring some information about and commemorating a friend of mine. Matter of fact, a guy who grew up in public housing with me over in Tyndall Heights. Right behind me. As a matter of fact, I talked to Roger the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, he reminded me, said, we were neighbors. We all grew up over there in the project. And, the interesting thing about that is that, and the reason I bring up Tyndall Heights is because although, it was public housing, and although your dad grew up in it, he still catapulted.
Oh, yeah.
To, talk about how internationally known he is.
Well, I think sometimes that across the waters, France and Italy and the Czech Republic and Spain and all of these, even in Rio, all of these countries, they celebrate Otis Redding as if it was yesterday that we lost him. So it's amazing to me to see how they still appreciate his music, appreciate everything that he left, just like we do here at home. So, when I have people to come to an evening of respect for the weekend, and I look and they've bought tickets for me and they're from Australia, I'm like amazed that you would actually take your vacation time and plan it around an event to be right here in the United States to celebrate with us. So, his songs are sometimes, some of the songs are even bigger overseas than they are right here in the United States. And that means a lot to us. That means a lot because one thing that I can say that people of international descent do, they make sure that their kids understand the history of great music.
Right.
And that's something that we try to do through the foundation, to make sure that not only you learn about Otis Redding, but you learn about all of the other greats who established a basis for these younger musicians who are coming along today. So, for them to do that, I think that's amazing. And that's so important.
And what's really significant, I think that's a good indication of, you can't let your surrounding, it ain't where you're from, it's where you're going.
It's where you're going.
And
I know that I talk to my mom all the time about this. If my dad were still alive today, he'd be somewhere trying to figure out how he can help the area of Tyndall Heights and build. He'd be right there, and still consider you his friend. And Georgia, Round Oak, Macon. Right. That's what he loved. Right. And that's why we do what we do in his honor every day.
And that's very, very outstanding. But let's talk a little bit. We talk about Mark and Dick and Otis. Let's talk a little bit about the other acts.
Yes. William Bell and Eddie Floyd.
Wow.
They love my dad. Wow. And they were on the road together. So to have them back on the stage to honor him is amazing. They called us, wanted to be a part of this tribute. Anytime that we do something in honor of my dad, they want to have a hand in it. Right. And we welcome them. We welcome them because they respect him so much and love him so much. So St. Paul and the Broken Bones is another act that's going to be on the show. And these guys, there's 8 of them. They love Otis Redding. Mm-hmm. Actually got their start in Alabama. What they did is they learned Otis Blue from beginning to end. Wow. And that was their set. That was their show. That's how they perform.
They do Otis Redding
and set. They do so when they found out we were doing the tribute, they were like, "Oh, we have to come to Macon to be a part of this." Coincidentally, their new album releases on September the 9th, which is also the lead singer's birthday, which coincidentally is Daddy's birthday.
Wow.
So they have a real big connection. They love Otis Redding, and they've got their own set that they're going to do as pay tribute to Otis Redding. And of course, having Chuck Lavelle be there with, who's a pianist for the Rolling Stones and music director. Not only is he a family friend, but he's a great supporter of the foundation and everything that we do. So having him is just amazing as well.
Well, I had the wonderful opportunity to interact with Robert McDuffie.
Yes.
In the play What Color Is Your Brother?
Yes.
And this guy that I was telling you who bought the tickets, as soon as I told him that St. Paul was going to be there, he said at somebody's funeral, and it wasn't a part of the program, but McDuffie had his violin, and he just started playing during that ceremony, and everybody just cried. And I say that to attest to how talented and how involved. So I understand he's going to be there.
He is going to be there as well. And what we try to do is we try to bridge all cultures of music. And that's so important. I mean, Bobby comes in with the violin, and then Dexter chimes in with Trial of Tenderness, Chuck on the keys. It is going to be absolutely
I'm going to start dancing.
There'll be enough time for that too. But it's going to be amazing. And Robert is a very big supporter of the foundation. Right. And our kids get to experience the School of Strings as well as his kids come and tutor our kids with the camp and everything. So, we all support each other. And I'm telling you, it's something in the water about Macon with the talent that comes out of here. Robert McDuffie and Chuck, but even the young kids like Flaco Torres will be there. All of these young kids who are coming up today who really appreciate good music. I mean, it's amazing. It must be something in that Macon water.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing. So now let's talk a little bit more about the activities, because we want everybody to understand. Well, before we talk about the activities, let's talk about an evening of respect. I know you got areas of sponsorship and tickets.
Areas of sponsorships and tickets.
And then, we want everybody to know whatever you can afford.
That's right.
We want everybody to be involved.
Right.
There's some free things too.
That's right.
But this evening of respect, you know what I'm saying?
With that level of talent.
75 years of Otis Redding,
and with that many performers on a stage, the basic ticket price is $60.
Okay.
Table seats on the floor go from $250 all the way down to $100. And those can be obtained through the foundation. You can go to Otis Redding.
Now you can buy a table if you wish.
You can buy a table of 10 for $2,500.
Okay.
And that has food and things on the table. So, and then the balcony seats are from $149 to $60. And there are some VIP areas in the balcony that have been. We hold those areas for attend people who want to also attend the VIP after party and meet the guests, and those tickets are $149. So we go from $60 to $149 to $249 to $2,500 for a table of 10. So we want to have everybody in the house.
And now, when will the after party be?
The after party will be immediately after the concert. Yeah. Immediately after the concert.
That's outstanding.
Yes.
Well, we know we're going to sell that out.
I hope so. I hope so.
I'm already claiming that.
Yes.
But let's talk about the peripheral activities, like what's happening.
It's so exciting, the event that Bragg Jam and the Film Festival are doing. To be on that, to see Otis perform on that big screen in Coleman Hill, and that's a free event. We're going to show the Monterey Pop performance. We're going to show the Dreams to Remember DVD, which was produced by my mom and I. We did that in 2011, as well as we will be airing the Sax Volt Tour, which shows Otis Redding and Sam and Dave and Arthur Conley and all of these amazing artists. And it's like a live performance. So it's almost like you're at a concert, especially with the Monterey Pop Festival performance, because that is what really catapulted my dad's career, to really bridge the gap between black and white. It brought him across all racial
music
areas.
Is a universal language.
It's a universal language, and to see that performance on the big screen up at Coleman Hill, that's going to be amazing. And that starts on Saturday. Again? That's Saturday, September 10th, and it starts at I think 8 p.m. On top of Coleman Hill. Okay. And then of course Friday again is Otis Redding Day in downtown. and we'll have food and activities, and the camp kids will perform as well as other artists from Macon will perform.
I bet there's there are quite a few people in Macon who have not seen the statue.
Yeah, there are.
You know what I'm
saying? But
saying?
now we're not going to be at the statue. We're going to be down near the Tubman, which is that plaza down near the Tubman and the Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay.
But the statue, you do need to go to see the statue,
yeah,
because it's playing that Otis music every single day.
Yeah. That could be a part of. Well, if someone wants to get in touch with you, or if someone wants to find out more information, how do you do that?
Tell them to call the office, the Otis Redding Foundation, 478-742-5737, or go to otisreddingfoundation.org/Evening of Respect.
That sounds
get all of that information.
We're going to invite and encourage everybody. You know, we owe a lot to Otis Redding, because that's one way, wherever you are, you know, they feel like you must be pretty important because you're from Otis Redding's hometown, you know.
Well, you know what? But we owe a lot to this community, because everything that we do in my dad's honor, the community supports us 100%, and we're so grateful for that. I mean, it's nice to live and do business in a community where there's nothing but respect for Otis Redding.
Right.
And that's what we try to live up to every single day.
Well, he certainly deserves the respect, and we're going to take a short break, and we're going to come back in a few minutes and wrap it up, because we want to give people time to go and buy the tickets.
Exactly.
This is a call to action.
OtisReddingFoundation.org.
This is a call to action.
Call
to action.
I'm your host, Alex Habersham, interviewing Mrs. Karla Redding Andrews, the daughter of the late, great Otis Redding, whose 75th anniversary we will be celebrating in September, early September. We'll be right back.
Otis Redding, the King of Soul. An evening of respect and benefit concert celebrating 75 years of Otis Redding, featuring performances by Dexter Redding, Otis Redding III, and the Reddings reunion with Mark Lockett, with special guest Eddie Floyd, Chuck Lavelle, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Steve Cropper, and more. Sunday, September 11th, 7 p.m. at Macon City Auditorium. Tickets and VIP packages now available at Ticketmaster.com. All proceeds benefit the Otis Redding Foundation.
We're back, and I'm so humbled to be able to talk with Karla and meet with her family next door in preparation for what's coming up with this phenomenal event celebrating Otis's 75th anniversary. And I'm asking the community to be a part of it, you know, because he means so much. He has meant so much to this community, and he has brought so much favor to this community by being a hometown boy. And whatever you can afford, you know what I mean? There are people who can afford different elements, but we want you to get, you might want to get the 149 to go to the after party, and, you know, get a table.
And it's nice to be
know,
on
but
the floor.
whatever, you know, we want you to be conscientious about this is to help this family celebrate and observe his anniversary, 75th anniversary. So go over one more time all of the nice event and the individuals.
So on Friday is the declaration of it being Otis Redding Day with the mayor and the Central Marching Band coming down to the plaza down near the Tubman and the terminal station, as well as we will have music all day. It goes right into the evening. The Douglas Theater will also be airing the showing of Unsung, the story of Otis Redding.
Right.
They're going to show that on Friday night. I think it's 2 showings. I think it's 6 and 8.
Okay.
As well as all the restaurants will be running specials. There'll be Otis drinks and Otis dinner specials. So downtown is just going to be a free flurry of activity, family activity.
Bubbling with Otis.
Yes, talking about Otis Redding, celebrating Otis Redding, and we thank them for that. Then on Saturday, of course, is Picnic Under the Stars up on Coleman Hill, where they'll be showing live performances by Otis Redding and his Stax Volt teammates. That we'll be doing the Monterey Pop performance, as well as Stax Volt, as well as Dreams to Remember, the DVD, The Story of Otis Redding. Right. And then on Sunday, September the 11th at 7, at the Macon City Auditorium is an Evening of Respect. The concert featuring Dexter and Otis Redding and Mark Lockett, Robert McDuffie, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, William Bell, Eddie Floyd, Chuck Lavelle, just a host of other surprise guests will be on hand to be there with us.
Right.
So that starts at 7, and that's at the Macon City Auditorium. And all the information can be found online at otisreddingfoundation.org or just otisredding.com, or just call the office, 478-742-5737.
And the website?
www.otisreddingfoundation.org.
Thank you so much.
Thank
and congratulations
Thank
on
you
the
so
wonderful
much.
job.
Thank you for your support.
that
you
all
always support us
are
as
doing.
well.
And just to kind of whet your appetite, we're going to end this interview with just a few clips from the last celebration. This is a call to action.
A call to action.
I'm your host, Alex Haversham. Watch the clips and have a great day.
Pain in my heart is treating me quickly. How grateful I will be. These arms of mine.
www.makingblackpages.com.
Hello, this is Alex Haversham, publisher of the Macon, Middle Georgia Black Pages. I'm so excited. I'm excited because we have launched a new and improved website at www.makingblackpages.com. You need to go to the website and you can even submit your own listing now.